Hello, this is Dr. Brandon, and in this video, we're going to be talking about personal identity. And basically, these are some notes on a dialogue on personal identity in immortality, which was written by John Perry. He's a philosopher. I think he's still on the faculty at Stanford University. Um, and I didn't require that you read this dialogue. You might be able to find it on the internet. There is a book version of it through Hackett Publishing, and they might have a copy of it in the library. And so these are just some notes on personal identity and how it's discussed in this dialogue, which is really informed by some work by John Locke, the philosopher John Locke. So let's go to the first slide, and I'll just tell you about the dialogue a little bit. The dialogue is divided into three nights. We're just going to look at two of them. And there's three characters. The first one is Gretchen Wierab. She's a philosophy professor, and she's dying in the hospital after some accident. The other is, but she can still talk and think and everything. The other is her friend Miller. I think his name is Sam Miller. He's a minister. He's also Gretchen's friend, longtime friend. And finally, we have Cohen. He's a graduate student. And what's going to happen is each one's going to present a view about personal identity. And so let's go to the first view, if we will, which is the first night. And what happens is Miller comes to the hospital and he tries to comfort Gretchen Wierab by saying, look, you're going to live on after death because a person is a soul. That's what he believes. He thinks you are the same as your soul, that you have a soul and it will live on after your body dies. But the soul is what you are. And we've seen this kind of view already in this course. This is similar to Descartes' view, if you will. His dualism, the body soul or body mind dualism. And Descartes thinks you really are the mind or the soul, and Miller seems to have that view as well. And what does this mean for personal identity? Well, it means something like this. If you are the same person you were last week, then you must have the same soul as you had last week, because a person just is a soul. They are identical. That's what Miller is saying. And if you have the same soul that you had last week, then you must be the same person as you were last week. Because again, a person is a soul. And here we're talking about, some immaterial substance or an immaterial thing. Now, Gretchen Wierab has some problems with this view. Her first problem is that how do we even know that we have souls? Souls might not even exist. That's kind of our first problem. And what kind of knowledge could we have that we have a soul? But then she goes on to say, well, let's just assume that we have souls and see what happens. And she thinks there's another problem. She thinks the problem is that we can conceptually make a distinction between a person and a soul, right? Because we can imagine the scenario. You go to bed tonight, you wake up in the morning, but during the night, what happened was God or something, right, switched your soul out with a new soul, but the new soul is psychologically the same as the old one. You've got all the same memories and everything. You wake up in the morning and you're going to think what? That you are the same person, but you have a different soul. So it looks like we can imagine a scenario where we're the same person, but we have a different soul. If that's possible, then it's just not true that a person is a soul. You still might have a soul, but what a person is and what a soul is are two different things. And that's the problem she's getting at. That's her objection to Miller's view, that a person just is a soul. And what happens is they get to the second night, he goes away, Miller goes away, comes back the next day, and he's thinking about things that she had told him the day before, or the night before. He comes back for the second night, and her view is that a person is just a body, and she's just a body, and when her body dies, she'll die, because that's all you are, is your body. And what does that mean? That means you're the same person. If you're the same person last week, you have the same body. And if you had the same body last week, you must be the same person. All right. Now, he has done some studying between the two nights, and he's ready to object to this view. And his objection is also some kind of knowledge objection based on this idea of making a conceptual distinction. And what he says is that he has this idea, when you wake up in the morning, before you've opened your eyes, before you've thought about your body, you know that you're the same person you were the day before. And so it's possible that you could wake up, know you're the same person, then when you open your eyes, you see you have a different body. So just think about these body switching movies you've seen, like Freaky Friday, or think about Franz Kafka's story, famous short novel, Metamorphosis. A boy wakes up and he's in the body of a big bug. I'm not saying these are physically possible, but it seems conceptually possible. It's conceptually possible to think of you being the same person, but in a different body. And we could do this in some different ways too. We could do it through, surgeries where we add synthetic parts to your body and take out your original parts. And after a while, like the ship of Theseus, you might just have a synthetic body, right? And you might want to say, I have a different body, but I got the same mind, if you will. I'm the same person. Okay, so we've had two views so far. One says a person is a soul, and that seems to be wrong because we can distinguish a person from a soul. The other says a person is a body, and that seems to be wrong because we can distinguish a person from a body. So what's left? All right, this is just part of his distinction some more. What's left is Cohen's view, psychological continuity. And the view here is that what's important about you being you is not your soul, if you have one, or your body, if you have one, right? Maybe idealism is true and we don't even have bodies. What's important are the thoughts, the memories, all that mental stuff. If that's continuous over time, if that's connected in some way over time, then you're still the same person. So if right now you can kind of connect yourself up to you from last week, then you from last week and you right now are the same person. And how typically do we connect ourselves up? With memories. I can remember being me last week. You can remember being you. So you're the same person you were last week. And I'm the same person I was last week. That's how we're going to talk about a person. What is a person? A person is a stream of psychological states that's connected over time. And here we seem to be doing that connection with memories. Now, this is a very promising theory. A lot of people like this kind of a theory. But the memory part is going to have a problem because we can have false memories. Our memories can be wrong. So we don't want to use memories. We want to just talk about cause and effect. Why do you have the thoughts you have right now? Because they were caused by earlier thoughts. And those were caused by earlier thoughts. And if we can connect up the stream of thoughts through cause and effect, then we'll have a person, a continuous stream of connected thoughts, psychological states over time. That's what a person is. And as long as you can connect you right now to some you in the past, then those two yous, if you will, are the same person. Because that's what a person is, just that continuous stream over time. All right, and note, this view does not depend upon whether we have a soul or even a body. It doesn't matter what kind of vessel, right, contains the stream as long as there's a stream of psychological states. That's what's important. But, of course, there is an objection. In the dialogue, the objection has to do with God and God's omnipotence. There are other ways to do this objection, though. We can do it with teleportation, brain splitting operations, many different ways to think about this. But basically, the objection is, what if we can split this stream? And so here we're going to think about God in an afterlife. We'll assume there's a God. I'm not arguing there is or isn't a God, and this God is omnipotent. Then it looks like God could make you continue, right, into an afterlife. So God, you die, your body dies, but God makes your stream of consciousness continue into the afterlife, right? Because God makes a you in the afterlife. Well, what if God can make a copy of that stream, make two yous in the afterlife? They're both connected to the original stream, so they both would be you, so to speak. But how can there be two of you at any one time? How can there be two of you now? How can there be two of you in an afterlife? And you can think about it this way. right? Person A is you before the afterlife. Person B is you in the afterlife. Person C is you, the second you, in the afterlife. So A and B are the same. A and C are the same person. Then B and C would have to be the same person. But B and C aren't because there's two of them. And so now we have a real problem, right? It doesn't look like you are a soul. It doesn't look like you are a body. And it doesn't look like you are a stream of consciousness. And the same for me. And so the question is, what are we? What is a person? That's still the question that we haven't answered.